Everyone, and welcome to Scouting the League, and welcome to the Draft Room. Today's guest, a former scout director, been with the Las Vegas Raiders. I guess they might have been the Oakland Raiders as well at some point, but again, they're the Raiders. They're Al Davis's team, and now Mark Davis's team. Going to have a new look for those Raiders. Also spent time with the NFLPA Bowl and currently doing some scouting for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Dane Vandernat's with us. Dane and I are going to talk some edges coming up in this 2026 NFL draft. Some really fun guys that, again, nothing better than watching D linemen. Edges are, again, we're seeing them get paid, which means these guys are going to be valuable come draft time. But before we jump into that, make sure you head over, like, subscribe, and share this podcast wherever you are listening and watching. If you haven't checked out our first Draft Room episode with former scout Brian Zekis, make sure you go back and do that. We talked some a little bit more interior D linemen, true four down, hand down guys, Grayson Halton of Oklahoma, Tyreek Sapp of Florida, and Mikhail Kamara of Indiana. That was on last week. We will be here with Dane, and we will hear from different scouts throughout the fall, different positions, really digging in on that draft room talk, whether a scout is presenting to a coach, a GM, or they're just kind of splitting some boards. We will talk through players the way scouts talk. Really excited for some upcoming episodes as well. We got Jordan Reed of ESPN coming up. We've got a representative from the University of Alabama, as well as, those that are revolutionizing the sleep game for NFL teams, NFL personnel. So again, make sure you're checking out all our episodes, no matter when they are, Monday through Friday. Neil and I have you here on Scouting the League. But enough about that. Let's jump in with Dane. Dane, we were just catching up. This is a busy time for a Canadian scout, CFL scout, because again, you're really digging in on rosters as we just got done with cut down time. Again, some of those players going to end up north of the border, digging through some film, but again, getting ready for a college fall season. You ever get sick of watching film?
You know what? I have to say, Rodrik, now being a pro guy with the Raiders for all those years, you sit through the draft meetings, you sit through, all the pro days and watch on the pro day tape. At some point, I got ready to get back and watch NFL film because it
Yep.
was, especially then, better quality. You got at
Right.
least the HD lenses, the better cameramen that, hey, they're not going to miss the catch on the sideline there. So, I was always ready to get away from the college film and turn on the pro film. But right now, I've been grinding doing pro tape. I'm ready to do some college ball at this point.
Perfect. Well, again, can't get enough of the 2026 draft. The draft every year. It is a truly year-round. Again, the NFL does what really nobody else can. It is a year-round thing, and you just go from one thing to another. And again, even though we're actually talking about real games starting in the NFL at college level, again, 2026 draft is on the horizon, and three of these guys, again, two were a part of the top 300 list that Drew and the Senior Bowl put out. Maybe the most intriguing of the group, though, a younger player, True Jr., that has some nice traits. We're going to talk about him. Edge rushers. We see Trey Hendrickson get paid. We see Micah Parsons. He's going to get paid. It's just a matter of time. We see in these guys, again, they're really maybe the second or third highest paid guy on your team. They really make an impact. So these guys are going to get taken highly in the draft. So let's jump into it. A defense that has been really, kind of the benchmark for that Michigan program, Derrick Moore. You're talking a true senior, listed at 6'3", 256. Again, for anybody that's always looking at those published weights and heights, again, usually take maybe a half inch off. Again, probably a few pounds off of there. Again, the weight can fluctuate a little bit, but again, that height is usually a thing that is fibbed on a little bit. We'll say that. But again, a true senior, played 14 games in 2022. 15 in 2023, and then started 12 in 2024. What are your thoughts on Derrick Moore kicking it off here?
Yeah, well, and really for one, Rodrik, I've got some verifieds on him from, I think, the Rising Senior Day at 6033, 265 with 33 and 7/8 inch arms. So, right off the bat, I think when you're watching them, and I'm sure you're probably similar to me, Rodrik, when we first turn on the tape, I want to see, okay, where's the guy lining up? What techniques are they actually asking this defensive lineman to play? what is his size and physical profile, as far as what they're asking him to play. For instance, I remember watching Travis Gibson, years back when I was with the NFLPA Bowl. He was down at Tulsa, and here's this long, lean, 265-pound guy playing three tech at Tulsa.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, this guy's clearly out of position. So,
Right.
for me, I'm always initially looking at the size, then trying to figure out the athlete, how they're utilizing his skill sets. And I think the thing you notice with Derrick Moore right off the bat is, he's an athletic big man. I think all these guys, we're going to talk about today have, some length to them. They have some athleticism to them. And now it's just trying to figure out kind of the rest of them. But, I think when you're sitting there looking at Derrick Moore, you're looking at an athlete, you're looking at a guy who's got that athletic frame, solid length for the edge. Again, we said, just under 34-inch arms. I think you see great flashes of get off and quickness, right? You see a little bit of twitch. But overall, he did, kind of, I want to see more of a physical side of him this upcoming season, right? All these guys I watched from 2024 tape, obviously, and you see some finesse to his game, right? The first play I was watching against Texas, and I'm a Gunnar Helm fan, right? The big tight end over there, not a elite, maneuverer, but the guy had great body control as a receiver, right?
Yep.
He comes over on a slice block, play one against Michigan. Derrick Moore's looking right at him and just gets cut, right? And you're kind of like, all right, one, that's not the quickest twitch tight end that just cut you. I expected you to be able to at least use your hands and get around him, right? So you just see some of that with Derrick Moore's play where it's like, hey, look, I want you to react quicker to that cut block. He's more of a placer with his hands. He plays high due to some tightness in his hips. Play strength, physicality, both on the average side of things. And then he just kind of lacks that elite play competitiveness or violence, right? That we want to see these guys shed blocks when they put a tight end over there, jack him up, get rid of them. When you're going up against a marginal tackle, want you to beat him physically, want you to beat him athletically. Just didn't see that consistently. I can tell that, hey, look, this guy, again, has the physical and the athletic traits. I put him in the fourth round, because of those. And obviously, as you kind of led off with playing a premier position, if you can affect the quarterback, you're going to get paid, right? But he's only had 4 sacks last year. 2 of them came against Bama in the bowl game when, not everyone's always playing hard. So really, he had 2 sacks in the entire regular season, and he's playing alongside. He started next to 3 guys that got drafted this last April, right? So he should have had a lot more one-on-ones. He should have had plenty of opportunities to make a lot of those plays. And again, I think that he has upside, and I think that, in 2025, hopefully he'll convert some more of those plays, play a little bit more physically, a little more hair on fire, and, be able to translate his game here to the next level.
Yeah, no, again, I think you hit on a couple big things. Again, having those verifieds, and even, again, for the average person out there that doesn't get those verifieds, you go in, does he look like he's playing at least about the size he's listed at? Again, you mentioned that length, nearly 34. If you're 33 plus as an edge, at least you're checking that box. And yeah, we'd love you to be 33 plus, 34 plus. But again, you're 30 above 33. Again, you're probably in that sweet spot. And Derrick Moore is an interesting guy for me because depending on what game you put on, you probably walk away with a different feeling. Because again, the first game I put on, rival game, Ohio State, where I thought I saw some of that physicality. I thought I saw some good down the middle power rusher. And what I questioned was, can he get off the railroad tracks? Can he work an edge? I thought he had some stiffness to him, probably just sufficient in his bendability and his Gumby to kind of work the edge. But again, you put on the Ohio State game, yeah, you're going to bring an extra cup of tea to that game and run through some people's faces. That's absolutely what Michigan did last year. But then, like you said, you put on a different game, a Texas game, or again, maybe a game where you don't get up as much for. And again, you see a little bit more of a finesse player that doesn't want to do some of those things. So again, consistency, like you said, again, easy to put a fourth round grade. Again, that fourth round grade is an edge rusher. You're thinking this is probably going to be my third rusher, which means he's going to be playing a lot of snaps on Sunday. He's going to be part of my sub packages. He's going to be rotational, whether he ends up inside, working outside. Again, some of your amoeba defensive looks. Again, you're going to have plenty of snaps with three true defensive ends, three true edge rushers. But again, a player with more upside. Again, that Michigan defense, there is the expectation this player is going to step up, which is a scout. Again, I'm throwing that fourth round here off 2024 film, and he can really help himself out, or he's going to really slide down and really be that middle of day 3 guy. If there was one thing early on in the year, is it just production for you that you really want to see jump out? Is it, again, consistent motor? Like, what's the one thing? Hey, I'm going into Michigan's early games. What do I want to see?
Yeah, and you know what? I thought you made a great point a second ago here, Rodrik, in that he really is very raw as a pass rusher, right? You didn't see a lot of those finesse moves, on the outside. You don't see him really work his hands and be able to string together things. So, for me, I want to see that, and then I want to see you just commit and play 100 miles an hour. Right. There were some times where I thought he was kind of playing it safe, almost paralysis by analysis. And it's like, dude, I just need you to go 100 miles an hour, right or wrong. We're going and blowing somebody up, right? We're going hair on fire, and we're not stopping. So I just want to see a little bit more of that, kind of alpha edge come out and be, hey, look, those other 3 guys are now gone. You're the senior coming on to this Michigan D line. You got to be the standard bearer and the torch carrier. So now it's time for you to really put that imprint. So we need to dominate. So that's what I want to see from Derrick Moore. Man, show some technique, show that you're coachable, that we're going to continue to progress, and then show that, hey, look, I'm going to, take my game to the next level and play hard.
Yeah, would love to have Aiden Hutchinson give him a call and be like, "Hey, you're the dude now." And obviously, there's been a couple between Aiden and Derrick now, but again, that was easy to see that with Aiden on film, and obviously turned him into a good pro. Excited to see him come back. So again, we both like him there. Again, probably you're talking early day 3. Again, a guy that could certainly get himself into that day 2 conversation. Again, that second or third round with a good fall. And again, a Michigan defense that has some expectations. Again, with the other questions they have, again, new quarterback, they got a lot of new pieces there. But again, a Michigan team that just has consistent expectations again. So let's jump to our next one. Joshua Josephs from Tennessee. This is another top 300 guy on that Senior Bowl list. You're talking a true senior. 12 games played in 22, 12 in 23, 13 in 2024, just 5 starts. Again, listed at 6'3", 240. Again, you've got him playing opposite of the first round pick that was taken by Atlanta. What are your thoughts on Joshua Josephs?
It's kind of funny here, Rodrik, and you'll be able to empathize. But I also got him, in that early day 3. I've got a 5th round grade on him with a Curtis Weaver, Dalen Hayes type comparison. But completely opposite game, I think, of Derrick Moore, right? Obviously, with Joshua Josephs, I got him 6'0", 237 with 34 3/4 inch arms.
That's some length there.
Right? Is that length. Right. Yep. He's got that, is the point you were making earlier, right? When you've got 34 3/4 inch arms, man, now we're cooking with something with a guy that's going to have some versatility. He plays both sides out, both 2 and 3 point stance, just like Derrick Moore did. Leaner, athletic frame, good straight line speed, quick hands. He works his technique. Unlike Derrick Moore, and I'm not trying to kill Derrick Moore, but unlike him, Joshua Josephs really knows how to string together the things he's trying to accomplish when he's working that finesse on the edge, right? I think that, one, he plays physical, he times up the snap, and he gets off the ball well. He's one of those guys that second and third step he's taken in a speed rush, he's gaining a lot of ground, and he's putting a little bit of stress on those offensive tackles, right? Now, I think where he struggles is he's a little bit stiff in the hips, and he really struggles to kind of bend and turn the corner there, right? And he kind of lacks some close in that burst running. I think that the other part of it is that he struggles to get home working power moves. So for him, I like the football player. I like the physicality, similar to what you were saying with Moore against Ohio State. I was watching Joseph's here. I was watching him against Alabama, rivalry game for Tennessee. Alabama had, I think a 3rd and goal at the 1. And you really see Josephs come down and jack up the tight end and knock him into the offensive line and into the scrum and stall Jalen Milroe running a quarterback sneak. So, you do see that physicality. You do see this guy kind of rise to the occasion. Now it's just, okay, does he have those elite athletic traits that's going to allow him, a la James Pierce, to consistently win and to be an impactful NFL player? I think he comes in just under that, and that's why, I kind of gave him those 5th-round comps. I think that this is a guy that you know what you're going to get. He has a higher floor, but perhaps a lower ceiling.
Yeah. Again, I think that think you hit it on the head. Again, that length stands out to you. Now, this is a long, wiry frame, and as a result, as I'm watching the athlete, nothing's real fluid. Nothing necessary. Again, you talked about the rush moves, and he has a pretty good feel for it. But again, the fluidity just isn't quite there. Again, you kind of talk about a kind of a herky jerky gait to him, and again, a little bit of stop start where, again, maybe that's a stiffness, maybe that's just the length. Again, a player that's probably still growing, probably want him another 15 pounds heavier, another year of development. All those things that Tennessee program are absolutely going to give him the opportunity to do and ascend. But again, this is one of those guys where, again, the good snaps are good. Like, it's like, oh man, this is like 2nd round, and then you've got a lot of your 5th and 6th round plays. So again, just like all these guys coming into the 2025 into their final year, consistency is a big thing. And again, playing opposite of James Pierce, obviously you're going to have more opportunities. That offense, you're going to have a lot of pass rush opportunities because you're going to be playing fast. You're going to be playing from ahead, again, a good bit of the time. So he's going to have some really good opportunities to do that. But again, he's one of those guys where, again, becomes a real specific role type player. Again, is he only a 3-4 outside linebacker? We all know nickel, you're going to be nickel 60+% of the time, which means you're going to be 4 down defense. Can this guy be a consistent hand in the ground run player in 4 down defense on 2nd, 3rd down? Or is this guy, hey, situational with his hand down, 3-4 outside line? That was one of the questions. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%, right? Because again, it's similar to what you're saying. I just don't see that elite athleticism to be able to translate that game to Sundays. Now, he does rush with a motor. He's got great length. He works his hands. So I don't think he's a throwaway, but I don't think he's going to be impactful, like James Pierce or Chop Robinson, those guys, in recent history that were, perhaps undersized, but could really get off the football, right? Really had great get off and acceleration to win around edge. He's going to come in short of that. And to your point, he may be just a base 3-4 backer. Hey, go play 1st and 2nd down, because I know what I'm getting out of this kid. He's consistent and he's physical. So can he be a 4 to 5, 6 sack a year type guy? Yeah, maybe. Based on his play, it tells me that he has the intangibles to be that. Now it's just, okay, hey, like to your point, are we going to take the next step? Are we going to, continue to elevate our game here now as a senior?
Yeah, this guy's that class. Is he a number 2 rusher? You may not have a great rush if this guy's your number 2 edge rusher. If he's your number 3, you're probably happy. Situational, again, work him in, continue to develop him. But again, Joshua Josephs have some work to do. Again, this Tennessee team with just like a lot of these, good teams from last year, the controversies on the offensive side of the ball for them. So hopefully that staff can get them figured out. But again, Joshua Josephs is going to have a chance to get himself, again, premium position. That length is absolutely going to push him up boards a little bit for a long time. If he tests well, he could be in that day 2 conversation. All of a sudden he pops 10 plus sacks. Again, a guy that just keeps shooting up boards. So it's going to be a fun one to watch because, again, has some physical traits that, again, you can't teach. You can't stretch a guy out to 34 plus. And he's got that all day. So it's a fun one. Last one we're going to go to here. We got our true junior. This is a player that was not listed in that top 300, though I think, from an athletic standpoint, he would be all day. Again, maybe not the rumblings yet that he's going to come out, maybe, with his profile, but Braylan Shelby out of Southern Cal. Played in 13 games in 23, 12 and 24. This is a 6'5", 265-pound edge rusher. What are your thoughts on Braylan Shelby?
I mean, perhaps the highest upside of any of the three that we're sitting here talking about. I mean, to your point, true junior. So, hey, look, I mean, the most raw of all these guys, I think, similar to Derrick Moore. He's not always using his hands really well, but shoot, I mean, you probably saw the exact same thing I did, Rodrik, right? You turn on that first snap and you're like, holy cow, this is a big, good
Yep.
looking athlete, right?
Yep.
This is the first guy off the bus. This is the first pick of the draft from a physical standpoint, right?
Right.
Just looking at him on tape there and, lining up. He played 3 technique all the way out to stand up outside backer as an edge. I think he's got scheme versatility because I think he could be a 4-3 or a 3-4 defensive end, right?
Yep.
Not even a 3-4 outside backer. He probably could do that as well. But, I think with his size, with his body, I think he can be, a 4 or 5 technique and have a lot of success. Don't have verified, like you said, he's a junior. So, but he has excellent length. When you're sitting there looking at him on film, he sets the edge physically. I think he's got good play strength. I like the physicality to him. He's a little bit higher cut and shorter torsoed. So, from a body, positioning, I think he's going to have a little bit of gangliness to him. I think that hurts him when he reduces down inside. At least from a pass rush, from a short area quickness, quick twitch standpoint, doesn't always have that, right? As we said, he's very raw as a pass rusher. Some of that lumber, to him, average get off and speed. And, I think he needs to obviously continue to develop that pass rush technique, the variety with which he's not just lining up and running down the midline of guys who are working long arms. But, to me, based on 2024 tape, I'd have him in the 5th round along the likes of Sezi Odumewu and Kingsley Enagbare of recent, NFL draft picks. But, obviously with him having at least this year plus maybe another, he can obviously continue to develop that game. There were a couple plays against Washington in that game that I watched against him where he's got the running back Coleman kind of dead to rights one-on-one, and he was unable to make either play. And, you just have a little bit of that lack of short area quickness to his game that I think hurts him, but, like we said, the physical traits are there all day long, and he's going to have, a lot of opportunities to prove his worth on Sundays.
Yeah, no, this is an easy one to put on film. And again, you just run 2 or 3 snaps. You're like, this guy's going to play in the NFL. And again, he's going to, I'm a much higher initial grade, which if nothing else may say about different philosophies we come from, which again, you talk about in the scouting world. Again, it's like, hey, this guy's going to have to earn that early grade where if I'm working with some of the people, I want my national scouts and my regional scouts. I want everybody to start doing their work on this guy, even if it is for that 2027 draft class, because this guy, this is one of those narrative change guys too, where if SC's not worried about him or not thinking, maybe the kid's already told him, like, I have no plans to come out. Maybe you'll get some rumblings about what the kid actually is, or maybe what he has been from a character standpoint. And again, you're jotting down notes early on this kid. But again, you're going to walk out on the film, you're going to body type this kid and be like, yeah, like, please, yes, please come put my helmet on. But like you said, again, you start putting on the film and there's a lot of really, really impressive athletic snaps. Again, this guy gets rolling. Again, his 10's not going to be impressive, but that 10 to 40, man, it's going to be blazing. Like, this guy's going to be a fast 40 guy. But you talked about it, a little bit raw in terms of his initial get off, in terms of first 3 steps. Again, this guy looks like a see ball, get ball guy, not a lot of plan to his game. Again, if you want to call that a kind of a Southern Cal defense, a Lincoln Riley defense thing, again, he's had some guys like this in the past that, again, maybe it takes 2 years, but again, you're absolutely going to take him early. The other thing that I thought with this kid was, again, he looks like he's thinking and trying to figure it out, not in a bad way, but again, maybe football's still not completely natural to him. but he was doing some things on film, again, with his eyes. Always one of the questions I'm looking, like, where is this guy looking? Are his eyes disciplined? It looked like he was taking what he had been taught, what he had maybe game planned during the week, and started to apply it, which is, you want to see that now we need to see it speed up. And again, that's usually one of those big steps, guys, as they get more comfortable playing in a role. Again, I'm sure this guy has been the best player on about every roster he's ever been on, and he could just go do whatever he wants and succeed. Again, you're not doing that anymore. You're at SC, you're playing big time competition, so that will get exposed. So again, I'm really excited to see, hey, is he taking another step in his football intelligence? Again, all goes back to that character piece that I'm going to be digging on. And again, there's these guys that are just, rare specimens. Again, he fits that. He's got some excellent traits that, again, he just stands out amongst the rest. I'm putting this like a second or third round grade on this kid, and thinking, hey, it's not going to surprise me at all when this guy is all of a sudden in that first round conversation with 10 or 15, because again, SC starts putting up numbers, again, a la Vic Beasley when he was with Falcons. If all you have to do is just go rush and you're ahead by 14, 21 points, you can make a lot of hay and a lot of money doing that. Take it out of the little bit of the run game. Don't run at him all the time. Again, you can do some things to cover up this player, but again, really fun one, really exciting one. What's the one question you want to see? What's the one thing you want to see from Braylan Shelby this fall?
I just want to see him use his hands just a little bit more, right? Just continue to develop that technique. As you know, Rodrik, when we're looking at defensive linemen, it is such a muscle memory position that when you're working these techniques, you watch these D-line coaches that are working with their guys, working their bags constantly, they're working their long arms. You have to be able to develop that and take that to the next level, because NFL offensive tackles are too good. Right?
Yep.
You're not going to be able to power rush them every play. You're not going to be able to beat them around edge with your speed every play. You're not going to be able to trick them and come inside. You have to be multiple. You have to be versatile. And you just have to see that with this young man, with Braylan. He has such talent and upside. It just has to be developed. That's going to get him drafted higher than where I pegged him, certainly. And so he just needs to just show that you're coachable, right? To just show that, hey, we can elevate our game, as we've been saying on this show now, for all three of these guys. That's all we want to see. Build that consistency, become a more impactful player that is going to move that quarterback off his spot and impact the game.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things, one of the fun things about scouting when you're a road scout, is we are spending the spring and the summer putting grades on these guys, and what we see in the fall, how much we project them to gain. Again, we could throw some projections. You walk in the school visit and you find out he's not a hard worker. He's not putting in the extra work. Again, all that ceiling starts coming down for you a little bit. And again, for some of these other guys, it's like, hey, I like him here. And then you find out, man, he's, again, weight room monster and more that whatever, term you want to put on him. It's like, oh, maybe this kid could be a little bit better. It's a projection game, and it's called a summer grade. These aren't final grades. Our final grades will come in December, January, February. Once again, we get all-star games and full season of film and top competition. And that's always one of the fun projection things is, hey, if the character matches up with the on-field talent, those are really, really fun players. For all three of these guys, you hope that the character, that is off-field, his off-season work, what he's done in the classroom, they translate from that to the on-field, because again, these are all three good players. Again, with what we know about edge rushers, they will go early in the draft, premium positions. Obviously, quarterbacks, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, especially those pass rushers, are going to be really good. So, three guys we're really excited about: Derrick Moore, Joshua Josephs, Braylan Shelby. We will be checking back in on these guys as the season goes. Look at the sack numbers, but again, the sack numbers may not tell you everything. Look at the pressure. Look at how they're doing it. Look at who they're doing it against. All three of these guys are going to see some really good tackles. It's another good tackle class on the offensive side. Put on best competition for them and see how they look in those matchups. And we will probably have Dane back at some point, whether it's to talk about these guys or to talk about other guys. Have players you want to hear from Dane about, let us know. Dane is at D Vandernat. Let him know how much you disagree or how much you agree. Be nice. Be nice to Dane. Be nice to me. I am, of course, at Right Step ADV. But Dane, a lot of fun. Love talking players with you. Good luck with Hamilton. Really appreciate you being on.
Of course, bud. Always love being on here and always love talking some good college players.
Awesome. Well, make sure you head over, follow both Dane and myself. Go check out all our past episodes. Let us know what you think about Derrick, Joshua, and Braylan. We got games going on, NFL games, college games. Don't just watch the games, keep scouting.